to show you some great techniques. I'm going to talk a little bit about electronics so you understand what you're seeing on that meter, which is very important. There's a lot of things to learn on your electronics, but over the years I've learned, I teach interpretation. You just need to learn what the fish are doing and what they're on. That's what's important. I'm very excited about coming out with my new rods. What I did is I took the original doodle rod and redesigned it. This is a 6'9". What I like about this rod, a couple things. One, it's got a fast tip. You can see where it's got a lot of strength there. You can crank with it. You can throw top water with it. And you can fish all finesse baits with it because you got that strength. And I was able to keep the price down, so we got a really good show price. Next thing, I used Blackwater 6-pound test fluorocarbon. This is a 6-inch worm. This is what I call my honeycomb. Inserted in this worm is this little 8/16-ounce tungsten weight, and I use a 2-aught hook. And I put the hook right under where the weight is. This is probably one of the most effective techniques that I fish today. This thing will catch fish in a toilet. If you can do, and you don't have to be an expert. But remember one thing, anything I'm going to teach you today, you take that rod out and you fish it. You don't go out and make 2 casts and say it don't work. On spinning reels, which is very important, you want a big spool. Don't buy those little spool spinning reels. And also never fill it up, especially with fluorocarbon. Always run it 1/8 ounce below the bottom. If you fill that up, you make 1 cast, you just lost $15. And when you get a backlash here, never open the bail. Always pull the line. You open that bail, that whole thing's going to come out. Big spool, good drag, get you a good rod. You don't need to spend a lot of money. It's very important. A good rod, a good reel, a good line. What I'm going to throw this out. There's a lot of ways to fish this technique. What I want you to see, one of the things I like doing with this is just letting it sit. Now I'm going to throw it out. Let it go to the bottom. I'm just going to let it sit. And that fish ate that bait because when that bait went down, it sit like this. Come on, give me that back. You can't set the hook on this fish, you got a problem. Again, I want you to watch the bait. Now, there's a lot of ways to fish this bait. This time of year, I like fishing uphill. Put the boat in shallow water, throw it deep, and shake it. Don't let it go to the bottom. Now, when I'm going to show you that, I call that doodle slide. I've won a lot of money over the years doing this. I'm going to throw it out, and I'm going to start shaking it. Watch my tip. I'm just going to shake it. See how I'm keeping it from off the bottom? I'm just keeping it, and I'll let it fall a little bit, and then I'll just move it and shake it some more. And then when you let it just sit like that, a lot of times, you watch the weight, the worm is going to come straight up. That's what I like about it. You don't have to be very active with this. Don't be shaking it too much. Again, I'm going to throw it out. This is another. Watch it when it hits the bottom. I'm going to let it slack line it. You want to slack line it like I'm doing, and then tighten it up. And just let it hold there like so. Then you can just barely shake it just a little bit, and just move it. And you notice how the worm will be straight up this way. And the reason is, it's the gravity of that sinker being on the bottom, and these worms of mine have pores in them. That's what makes it float. What I'll do is I'll just hold it like this, and I'll just move it. And I'll hold it, and I'll move it. Watch my tip. I'm just barely moving it. And then I'll let it sit. I won't even move it, and I'll just let that worm do its thing. See what it's doing down there. It'll just be up and it'll start shaking. And a lot of times they'll just look at it. Or you can fish it vertical like this. let it just sit on the bottom. A lot of times I'll just let it sit and I'll just kind of move it like this. I call this nail worm fishing, and at this time of year it's deadly. And it's just going to get better and better. You throw that out, let it go to the bottom. There's a lot of ways to fish it. I like to shake it on the sink. I'll catch a lot of fish suspended doing that. When I'm shaking it, you're watching my tip. That's what I like about my rods. See, when I was doing that, as I was setting it, that worm was sitting like that, and that's when they'll grab it. It's an incredible technique. It's easy to fish. You don't have to be a bass pro, and you don't need a lot of baits. I got like 3 or 4 colors that work anywhere. And I've won so many tournaments with this technique. Come on, give me that bait back. What I like about this is also these worms have salt pores in them. So when they grab it, they don't let go. And those pores are what keeps that worm straight up. And from now until June or July, this technique, and what's good about this is because you can fish this anywhere. I don't care where you go. And from now until July, it's just a great way to fish. And it's very easy. You got a 6-inch worm. This is my honeycomb. I love this color. I catch fish with this. These fish came from Paris. And this worm itself was designed from a guy fishing at Paris. And it's turned out to be probably one of the most effective worms that I've ever come up with color. When I'm trying to show you 2 or 3 different ways to fish it, you can also drift along and just let the line out and just keep it slack though. Remember, you have to keep it slack because that's what's going to keep that worm straight up.